Morning. So you might wonder why I've got the bike laying over as it is at the moment. Going to do the Loctite fix for the stator bolts. So the models 2000 to about 2008 had issues where the stator bolts located in here would move out and then contact the stator moving and lunch both of them, causing expensive repairs. So these they have been repaired through the manufacturing progress, but as extra precaution, we'll strip ours down today, see what's going in there, and put some Loctite around and put it all back together. It'll be good. So it's done 16,000 Ks, which is when the original ones were failing on bikes as well. So good time to see what's happening in there. So behind this cover here, there is it is oil immersed. So I'm halfway through a service. Dropped all the oil out of the bike. There's no oil in there. Just at the stage now, you can see there's a bit of sand and that getting around. A bit of compressed air. We'll give it a good clean before we start pulling it apart. And then the first job is to take the Gearshift lever off. Just mark on the spline where we're at and the bolt there, and get that out the way. So to remove the cover, you'll see from the outside there's 7 bolts around it, 8mm headed bolts. But if you were to take those out and try and get the cover off, it's not gonna budge. There is another bolt hiding in behind this idler gear here. Standard bikes will have Phillips screw retainers holding this on. I've replaced them early on with a 10mm stainless bolt. Do yourselves a favour, when you do pull them out, replace them. There's nothing worse than those Phillips head bolts with a bit of torque on them, so much easier with the hex head bolts there. Bolts removed. Now it's just time to pry out the cover here. Just give it a nice gentle wiggle. There's a few gears in here. Like that, and it'll pop out. There you go. And be very careful. There's a bearing just in there, and also a shim. So that is out now. And we pull the pack out completely like that. You can see down in here there's also another shim. Pull that one out and put it back on your gear pack, ready for installation. Put this pack aside somewhere nice and clean. And as you can see, there is the other remaining bolt there with a little bit of oil around it, so just give that a clean up. Bit of a handy hint, the bolts are different lengths. So what I do as a trick, I set up a box, old box, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, like a clock. Punch 8 holes in it for the 8 bolts. Now we know the nice new shiny one in there is the one that's been immersed in oil. So that one there we'll call 12 o'clock and we'll work our way around. So we'll put the bolts in there, and that way no confusion. All the bolts removed, screwdriver, just get in underneath here somewhere and give it a bit of a pry, and it will pop up. Hey, there you go, it's just popped up. The magnets will hold, so it will take a little bit, but not too forceful. And here we are, there it is open. Starter motor gear there. Now, we are looking at these 6 bolts, the silver bolts there. They're the ones that cause the damage if they come loose. So we'll take each one of those out one at a time. Put some thread locker on it, some high torque thread locker, and reassemble, and we'll torque them up. And inside the stator cover here, there's another 3 we can do. Smaller diameter bolts, so we'll just run a medium strength on that. As you can see, that's the electrical side of your stator. It's very important having the engine oil level correct. If your engine oil level does drop low, the stator will run hot not getting enough lubrication will also cause burnout. But as you can see, it's all looking nice for what you'd expect at around 16,000 Ks. So the engine will want to try and rotate on you as you're undoing and doing these back up. So just use a 17mm spanner on the flywheel nut just to hold. And as you can see, there's not a lot of tension on those. Okay, so that's one bolt out. You can see there is a little bit of blue stuff on there, which looks like thread lock from the factory. This bike hasn't been opened up before, so they have done it one at a time, and as you go through, just put a paint mark there on each one to know that you've done it. Okay, this is a bolt just cleaned up using a Loctite 263 product. Just want a small drop on it. That, like that, is plenty. Put it in. You have a bit of fun putting it in as the bolt wants to stick to the magnet. There we go. And torque wrench ready. And set to 14 Newton meters. That's it. So I had to get a new torque wrench because the other ones didn't go down low enough. So it's a quarter drive torque wrench set at 14 Newton meters. Check that twice. Paint marker. With 6 bolts here done on the flywheel, we'll now move and do another 6 in here. So there's 3 holding the stator, 2 up top here, and 1 holding the wire and harness. So we'll do them. The only difference being we'll use a medium strength thread locker. So a Loctite 243 for those, and do them. And then it's the matter of reassembling. Couple of quick points for reassembly. There's an O-ring here on your starter motor. Just put a little bit of oil or grease on that to help it slide on. And where the starter reduction gear sits, just in there's a little bush, which is easy to go forth and go missing. There it is there. So just make sure that that is sitting back on. It will take a bit to line this up, putting it back in, but it will go. You just have to give it a bit of a wiggle to get it to line up. From that, got the bolts ready to go in order, and let's put it back together and fill it up with engine oil. So from that, we've filled the engine oil up and had the bike running, all okay, no leaks. One point I forgot to mention was the gasket. It's a pretty durable, sturdy gasket, so as long as you take care pulling it all apart and reassembling, you shouldn't have any problems. If it does leak, it's not a major one to replace further down the track. As we saw, the stator bolts did have a medium strength thread locker on them from factory. This bike's a November 2011 model, so yep, that one does have it, but it's not. But it is worth stripping yours down and having a look when you can. Awesome spot. This is the Helena River running back to Mundaring Dam.